Welcome to Unplanned Podnancy, the only podcast on the internet where we are called Unplanned Podnancy. Hey, probably. Hope so. Hope we didn't try to take somebody else's name.
Well,
I don't know. Whatever. Chris.
yeah.
Yeah, you're Chris. I'm
that's
Matt.
right.
Yeah, true.
The good intro.
But yeah, Chris, it's a big day. It's a big day.
What's
you know why
today?
it's a big day?
No, I don't.
No, you don't even have a guess?
Hitler's birthday?
Mm.
No, that's 420.
No.
I know it's not Hitler's birthday. That is on April 20th, the same day that people smoke
It
a
is?
bunch of weed. It is.
Whoa! Welcome to Unplanned Podnancy, the only podcast on the internet where you just learn that fact. There's probably another podcast
There's
on the
definitely
internet.
another podcast that said that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, no. Today is the first day that we've recorded a podcast since the podcast went live on the internet. That's right. Yeah. So, well, actually, I haven't uploaded episode 4 today. But episode 4 is going to come out today. We're recording
It's on
episode
YouTube.
5. Okay, there you go.
There we
It
go.
sort of came out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So episode 4 came out today. This is episode 5. We were like ahead, and we were way ahead. And then now we're not anymore because we had 3 weeks in a row where we didn't record the podcast for one reason or another. So now we're caught up. Today is also the day that we got social media accounts. Hey, boo, 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 boo. Go follow us at Unplanned Podnancy on most things except for Twitter, which is just at Podnancy.
That's right. You can. Yeah, Facebook. It's definitely definitely Unplanned Podnancy, and so is Instagram. And what are the other ones? It's Twitter,
TikTok.
and TikTok,
and Instagram on the gram.
Yeah.
There's also unplannedpodnancy.com, which right now, if you go there, it's just going to be episodes. But eventually, there will probably be other things. The full disclosure, the website kind of sucks right now.
Yeah.
But
well,
it'll get better later. I'll do something else with it.
Eventually, I'd have my OnlyFans link on there.
Yeah. So check for that.
Yeah.
Come back and look for that. Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled. Anyway. Our topic today. Oh, that's another reason it's a big day for us. This is our first two-parter. This is second part of our first two-parter ever.
And it's been so long since we did the last part that it'd be like a fresh re-exploration.
Yeah. So episode 4 was about what if all of the corporations disappeared from the planet. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, stop and go listen to it. And then come back, because I'm going to tell you what happens. We arrive at the conclusion that probably what would happen, the most logical course of the new world would be that educational institutions like colleges and stuff would just take corporations' places, because they would be really the only institutions left with any sort of access to like resources or funding or large amounts of smart people in one place. So we decided that we should do a follow-up episode about what life would be like basically if colleges took the place of corporations in our everyday life.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Take us away.
All right. So here's my thing. In a utopian world. So here, like, after corporations disappear and these educational institutions start taking over, in a perfect world, educational institutions would be ran by like scholars who are like really devoted to their fields and love the exploration of knowledge. But in reality, higher education is ran by businessmen and business ladies.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So I really feel like what would end up happening is they would use those large amounts of funds and resources to really just replicate corporations in a lot of ways. I don't remember where we landed, like, you could make corporations again. I think we said no. Like, there was some universal
we decided
rule.
that corporations were illegal.
Yeah. Okay. So, I I think there would be some similarities, but obviously there have to be differences so that it's not just a corporation again.
Right.
But I think it would be a reasonable course of action because colleges have supercomputers.
Right.
They have the kind of staff and faculty that would be able to pull off a lot of those large corporation type moves.
Right.
So it makes sense to me that that would happen. I think pretty quickly um, they would start selling large amounts of product.
Yeah. Okay. So so we know that they have like the resources as far as like uh staffing and like management type people
Mm-hmm.
and like research and development type people. And lots of universities have, like you said, supercomputers, and they have large campuses where you can house people, and they have offices and things like that. But what do research institutions or universities lack? And that's like colleges don't have large logistics departments
Yeah.
where they like maintain shipping routes and stuff like that.
Right.
They don't own fleets of trucks, and they also don't usually own like large manufacturing
Right.
facilities. So that becomes the first hurdle I feel like they would have to.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. I think those kind of things are what you would establish, but there are going to be people who need jobs since
Right.
corporations just vanished, and people with that kind of expertise that you would be able to hire. So I don't feel like it would be that difficult to like get those things set up
Yeah,
because the corporations disappeared, but the people running them didn't.
that's
So I those kind of things aren't going to be that difficult to establish. I wouldn't think.
that's
Now,
the thing is all the universities are just gonna hire the people that were doing these
yeah,
jobs with the corporations.
yeah, they're just gonna be like, all right, come on over, Google. You're now part
Yeah,
of us. Uh, my interest in this is what is the difference? What's the difference
right,
between a corporation and these new educational institution corporations
right. Because
things?
everything we've like discussed up to this point is just like everything would be exactly the same, basically.
Yeah,
But if corporations are illegal, we basically, like you said, we basically there has to be some difference, and the difference, obviously, I think, is that these corporations also have like educational programs and like degrees and things like that. So I guess what you're probably going to end up with is a situation where you have Google and Microsoft and uh, like S&P Global and stuff, and these giant corporations and banks and stuff just have degrees, and you can just go to Google and get a degree in computer science or whatever.
so I feel like for this to be a thing, like a universal law or something, is said no more corporations, or we as a people said no more corporations. Um, there there has to be a definition that must be maintained when
Mm,
uh, these institutions take over. So I would imagine that you would have to have the majority of your profit come from education
ooh,
and student tuition and stuff,
mm,
and uh, that balance has to be maintained where you have to bring in like 90% of your money from tuition and only 10% from product and sales.
yeah, yeah. That's like how lots of colleges today are basically just athletics programs that also have like educational programs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I know like athletics brings in a ton of money for those institutions. I don't know if it brings in more money than tuition and stuff. But if you set that rule where you have to make more money off of tuition and fees than you do selling products, then what are the two possible outcomes of that, right? I think the first one is like tuition is just going to be insanely expensive, or these companies can't move a high volume of product.
Right. And I think that, so if corporations became illegal, like why? If they just disappeared, if it's magic, then there was no necessary reason. If we as a people were like, no more corporations,
I think it had to be a combination of magic and law.
so why?
Like the government decided to make corporations illegal and then hired some wizards to make them disappear.
I like that. So then I get, then what's the reason for the corporations being illegal? And my best guess would be that either the redistribution of wealth,
Right.
or because prices were getting out of hand, something like that.
I think, like you said, the distribution of wealth would be part of it, like just runaway capitalism, and the class divide got so big that it just destabilized society, and they decided that we needed a new system without corporations. I guess would be like some sort of radical, progressive, socialist like government decided to just eradicate corporations, thinking that that was going to fix. But that was never going to fix it. If you let universities continue to exist, that was never going to fix it.
Yeah.
Would this help? Maybe, because colleges bring in a ton of money, but I don't think they definitely don't bring in the type of money that Apple does, right?
No, absolutely not.
So if we go with that rule, so we've decided that the government got rid of the corporations because the class divide was getting too big. The distribution of wealth was out of whack. They thought getting rid of corporations would fix that because the corporations were making too much money.
Mm-hmm.
So now research institutions and colleges and stuff are filling the role that the corporations previously had in society. But to keep them from having like runaway wealth, then they set that rule where they have to make more money off of tuition than they do off of selling goods, in some attempt to keep it in check, right?
Yeah, but in response, they just jacked up tuition.
I mean, you can only jack up tuition to a certain point where people aren't going to go anymore, right? Like you can't. There aren't. If you make tuition $500,000 a year or something, there aren't enough people that have that type of money to go there. Like you can't make $1 trillion worth of income that way. You just can't. There aren't enough people.
Well, I mean, that's what banks are for, right? So, and that's the whole existence of like Navien and Sallie Mae. So now you're just forcing people to take out these huge loans to get these educations that they need to work at the institutions that are teaching them these degrees.
That sounds a lot like the current day situation. Just worse. It's just everything's just worse. I don't think that would work for very long. I don't think
that's just more slavery.
I don't. Yeah, you just put people in so much debt. It would just be a cycle of debt, right?
Yeah.
Like a chain of debt. I mean, yeah, that's one way of handling it, and maybe that's what would happen, and society would just collapse all over again. Yeah, you're probably right. That's probably what would happen. Let's pretend that doesn't happen.
Okay. So someone.
I mean, even if you say that, I still just don't think that you would get enough people to take out a $500,000 loan or whatever. I just don't think so. Because why are people going to take out a $500,000 loan to go to school at Apple instead of taking out a $30,000 loan and going to school at their local community college that just makes baskets or something? You know what I mean?
Because if you go, let's think about this. So, if you're a educational institution that's hiring people and you're Apple,
mm-hmm.
Are you gonna hire the person that went to your local college and where they make baskets? Is that degree worth letting?
No, I'm gonna hire people that graduated from Google.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it would be more prestigious. But how's that any different than the way that the college system works now? Like, it costs like hundreds of thousands of dollars unless you get a scholarship to go to like Harvard or Yale or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that much different.
No, it's not that much different. But people do take out huge amounts of debt to go to better schools.
Yeah. So it's going to make that problem a little bit worse. But it would still, even if you jacked tuition up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, I still don't think you can make enough money doing that to bring in the kind of money that like
No,
a Fortune 500 company does.
no, you can't. You're absolutely right. You can't. So the distribution of wealth would have to be different than it is now.
Yeah.
To some degree. How much? Like, here's the thing. So, college athletic coaches already get paid millions just to be coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how much does the head of a college make? Like, the person at the very tip top of the organizational ladder at a college.
Less than those coaches, for sure. Like I'm pretty sure that coaches that lead like really good football teams and stuff get like multi-million-dollar deals, right? I don't think the dean of whatever college that is making $1.5 million a year. I think they're still only making like 500 or 600 grand a year, like, which is a lot of money, but that's not CEO of Google money.
Yeah. All right.
Even at $1.5 million a year, that's still not CEO of Google.
Oh no, you're not even close.
So
yeah, I do think that would improve the distribution of wealth, but if the percentage of money situation exists, there is going to be a shortage of supply for everything.
There would just have to be more colleges, because one college, no matter how big it is, unless they start doing online programs and stuff and they just have a fuck ton of students, like maybe Harvard becomes Apple and they just have 500,000 students or something crazy.
Okay.
That's still not enough money, though.
Yeah, here's the problem, right? So corporations currently generate money by selling product to people of all ages.
Mm-hmm.
If 90% of your income has to come from people going to college, the majority of those people are between like 18 and 25.
Yeah, you've got a subset of a subset of people, because like if you have your big Fortune 500 company, you want your education program to be prestigious, right?
Right.
Which means that you're going to have standards for people who are admitted.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that you're taking a small chunk of like highly achieving academics from a subsect of the population, which is like you said, that 18 to 20 something range of people, and then you're cutting that down still by people who are like geographically able to go to that institution, unless you're doing it all online, which probably wouldn't be the case for those super prestigious universities. So you're, like you said, Apple makes money off of selling to billions and billions of people. Colleges make money off of selling something to a few thousand people a year, right? So yeah, there's just gonna have to be more colleges, and maybe these colleges form networks, and so there's like, which it already happens today, right? Like there's satellite campuses of any college. So maybe there's like, maybe Harvard becomes Apple, but then there's like Harvard, California, and Harvard, North Dakota.
Okay.
It would be weird.
But
it would
would
get
there be
weird.
would there be? I guess there would have to be less individual colleges and more, like you said, networked colleges, because it just can't be like all the colleges that exist now. If you, man, well, maybe I don't know. I just feel like there's not enough people for there to be a ton of colleges, just like everywhere. There's just not enough people interested in that kind of education.
Well, but maybe that would change. Maybe this would change that, right? Because lots of people aren't interested in college. For 3 reasons, right? One, they're not smart enough. What are you laughing about?
For 3 reasons. One.
For 3 reasons. For 3 reasons. Like me, I'm too dumb. No. 1, they're not smart enough to get in. 2, they don't have the money to pay for it. Or 3, they don't see the value in it because they they think they can make a career in whatever they want to do without having to get a degree, and they don't see the degree as being worth it, right?
Sure.
That's a big reason a lot of people don't go. You immediately solve the third problem because this college is connected to a corporation basically directly. So like if you're going to Apple to get a computer science degree, you've got a good chance. Like if you're unemployable on the other side of that, they're fucking up super hard.
Yeah.
So and they're shooting themselves in the foot. So you're probably going to solve the third problem. The second problem with it not being affordable enough, I would think you would probably end up in a situation where like there would be loopholes, right? Like college, there's a rule that the college has to bring in enough money through tuition to like outdo what they're selling their product for, right? So you have to make more money off of tuition than you make money off of products.
Yes.
But what's going to happen, what one of the things I would see happening is like they would find people, like a scholarship program, basically. They would find people who would be good for their program.
Mm-hmm.
They'd bring them in. They'd tell them they have to pay their tuition, get a loan or whatever. But then they promise them if they get through the program and do well, they'll hire them and give them the money back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people just take out a $500,000 loan. They get through the end of it, and then Apple just pays their tuition for them. And really, it doesn't matter to Apple because they're just paying themselves, basically. It doesn't matter to them what it costs. So that's one way they could get around it. So that kind of solves the second problem, and that also sort of solves Apple's problem in that they have to have enough people paying tuition. They can just jack up the tuition to whatever the fuck they want because they're going to get $1 million. They could get $1 million loan. A student could get $1 million loan, pay that $1 million to Apple. Apple could give that student the $1 million back. And basically, it looks like they've generated $1 million from profit through tuition, but really it's a net nothing.
Oh, no.
For Apple. You get what I'm saying?
Oh. So realistically, they can make as much money as they want off of selling products as long as they fake income through scholarships and tuition.
There may be a way to close that loophole legally, but I feel like they would just it would constantly be in the law trying to catch up with the corporations finding these loopholes.
That's a real big problem.
That is a real big problem.
Oh, fuck. While you were talking about that, though, I realized that there would be some colleges doing interesting things, like super awkward things as well. For instance, Pornhub College would be a thing.
Because things that would normally not be college degrees at all would suddenly have to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
I want to go to the dildo college.
Oh man, yeah, yeah. I mean, Coca-Cola would have one. Pepsi would have one. You'd have
suddenly there'd be
kinds of
degrees
stuff.
in crazy shit.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
That you know what? That would be kind of cool though, to be like a sodaologist. I don't know what they're actually called, sodologist. But yeah, to be like one of those people and like get a degree in making sodas, that'd be pretty cool.
Is their mascot whatever the Coke College is? Are they like the Louisiana Cokeheads? Because that's what I would do.
So here's no, okay. So I guess like plumbers and stuff aren't they're small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
That's gonna be like a community college. Oh, well, that's not a corporation to begin with,
so
they're exempt anyway, so
exempt.
it doesn't matter.
Is Pornhub a corporation or a business?
Oh, for sure, it's a corporation.
It's a corporation? Yeah.
At what point is something not a small business anymore and is a corporation? I mean, I think when you set up an LLC for a business, technically you're a corporation, no matter if you have like 10 people working for you or not. So we would have to come up with some sort of definition. I think so.
This is kind of interesting because I really don't know what defines a corporation to begin with. So kind of a strange topic to tackle.
A company or a group of people authorized to act as a single entity and recognized as such in law. So yeah, the place if there's an LLC for the place just like a couple blocks down from your house that has 10 people working there and they make t-shirts or something, they're a corporation even though they're a small business. We would have to come up with some sort of different definition that's like more than a certain number of people or a certain amount of income or something.
Well, but right, so that definition you just gave, a corporation can act as its own entity with its rights under law, and that's like that goes back to like years ago when it like was decided that corporations are people
Right, yeah.
and they have the legal rights of people.
Hmm.
A small business doesn't have that. A small business,
Is that true?
yeah, I like if they're not a corporation, they don't
I
get.
don't know. I don't know the legal
No,
stuff
I don't either.
behind this.
I don't either. I'm just making shit up. I have no idea.
I don't know the difference between like Microsoft and like some random dude who builds houses who has an LLC. I don't think they're different. I mean, they're different, obviously, but legally, are they different?
I feel like legally Pizza Hut has to be different than the like New Yorkers that moved next door and opened up a pizza shop.
Well, they don't. They may not need to have an LLC because they may not care if it's just two people working there. They may not need an LLC because they don't care if their business has its own legal rights, right? If it's literally just Steve and Linda,
but
it doesn't matter.
Who's getting an LLC for a 10-person business?
Lots of people, because I think there's like tax reasons that you would do that. There's legal protections that you get. So like if you have people working for you, it's a good idea to have an LLC for legal reasons.
So
because
LLCs can't exist because corporations can't exist, which means all the rights that corporations have no longer exist for corporations. So these colleges wouldn't have those same rights that corporations have now.
Yeah, I guess they would have the same rights as an educational institution has, which I don't know how that differs.
They're probably better. If I'm being completely honest, they're probably better.
They can probably get away with more. So
I mean, colleges can do some fucked up shit.
Yeah, if it's for research.
Yeah.
You
can do almost anything in the name of research.
Well, no. There's a lot of things you can't do. There used to be basically nothing you couldn't do, but that changed in like the 70s, I think, because I remember a landmark case in this was the Stanford prison experiments,
right?
Where they like locked those students in a fake prison.
Yeah, those students got fucked up.
Went down. Yeah. So that's you can't do anything anymore.
You can't do anything to people, for sure. I don't know what the legal like limitations are for colleges. Like, if I had to guess, I'm just guessing, I would guess that colleges have more flexibility in animal experimentation than corporations do.
I don't know. I have no idea. That's a good question. I know they don't get passes on stuff like workers' rights and stuff like that. They do to a certain degree because they have like student workers and stuff, and some laws that apply to like full-time employees for like companies and stuff don't apply to those people, which is super shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like certain things they can get away with that they wouldn't be able to get away with in other places. But by and large, like that sort of stuff is the same. But yeah, like you said, could a cosmetics company start running doing experiments that would normally be illegal on animals and just be like, well, it's research? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I have a real lack of knowledge now. Yeah. At this point, I have a real lack of knowledge of the law for corporations and educational institutions.
Yeah. Yeah, we're reaching that point that we reach almost every single time that we do one of these where we realize that we don't know enough about what we're talking about.
That's Unplanned Podnancy, baby.
That's it. That is Unplanned Podnancy.
We go and we bring up questions, and now it's the audience's turn to go Google them.
Yeah.
And if they're an expert in that field, let us know.
Yeah, we just pose the questions.
Yeah.
We make you think.
We
don't give you the answers.
Nope. We're your brain trainers. You're coming to the gym of podnancy, and we're giving you some thought exercises.
We break the box down. We help you think outside the box by just destroying the box.
That's right. There is no box, baby.
Yeah. We can talk about something that all right, let's bring it back to something we could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be like to be able to graduate from school and be like, I want to work for the dildo company, or I want to work for Coca-Cola, and then just be able to go fucking do your education at one of these corporations? What would that be like?
That would be super convenient, honestly. Because if you were like, let's pick something. Well, no, that's not a corporation. So yeah, let's just say you want to be in porn, right? Let's just say you want to be in porn. It's your thing. You're like, I got huge titties or a nice ass or a massive dong, and I'm not that bright. So porn seems like a good option, and I enjoy sex. So I'm gonna go do porn for a living. And you're like, well, I want to be in porn, so I'll go to the Bang Bros College of whatever.
Banging.
Bang Bros College of Banging, because they're real creative over there at Bang Bros.
Yeah. Well, they're not marketing experts.
That's true.
They're banging experts.
Yeah, they're bang experts. But yeah, so you're like, all right, I'll go get my porn education and learn how to ejaculate on command and all these different tricks, and then you get your porn star degree, and now you're doing porn for a living, and that would be awesome, instead of having to do these weird fucking career paths that people have to go through currently. And some people get their degree and they end up doing exactly what they want, but that's like maybe 0.5% of people, 1% of people, because most people end up getting a degree in some topic that they think will get them into the field that they want to be in, and no one's going to hire you because you have no experience in that field. So then you try to follow this chain of jobs that you're like, and this is semi-related, I guess. And then you work for like 7 years, like trying to get experience doing shit. And then now you're over half a decade older and you're like, I'm still not doing what I want, but I'm making decent money at this point. So I guess I'll keep doing this until an opportunity presents itself to move another step toward what I want to actually be doing. But at this point, you're getting so old that you're like, am I really able to enter this field? And then you finally are able to. And now you're like 37 and you're a first-time game developer, and some like 28-year-old dude is like sexist, and he's been there for 5 years already because he was like some kind of programming prodigy, and you're a woman who's got to suffer through that shit, and now you're working at Blizzard and there's a lawsuit.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember where I was going with that.
I don't either.
I just
you wouldn't have not having work experience out of college and not getting hired. Well, these places would basically have like their own built-in internships, right?
Yeah, it would fix all that shit.
Sick.
It would fix that entire thing I just said. There would be no more sexual harassment at Blizzard. That's not true.
That's not true at all.
I'm sorry.
No.
That one wouldn't be solved by this. But you could just get a job being a game programmer.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem, you're going to run into like problems with admissions though, right? Like the admissions process is going to be corrupt. That's going to be an issue.
Well, fuck.
Because like, okay, so what if you want to go to Bang Brothers College banging, and you don't get admitted because you're ugly and nobody wants to watch you bang? What?
You ever watch
what do you
porn?
do?
You ever watch porn?
You're right.
There's some pretty ugly people in porn.
You're right. Now I kind of want to have a conversation about why that is, but
well, that's a different topic.
Yeah, that is a different topic.
And see, that's actually really interesting because now the whole thing about porn is creeping into my mind, because there's porn for tiny dicks, there's porn for big dicks, there's porn for everything.
Right. So what's the admission process going to be? They'd almost have to take anybody, because they'd have to be like, well, you're somebody's type.
You don't take the average person. Like, you get like a certain, like, if you get a certain person that's just too average, no one's going to be interested in them.
So you just have to be remarkable in some way.
In some way. Either extremely ugly, extremely fat, extremely skinny,
thing, I'm sure.
Real tiny dick, real big titties, real big butt. Something about you has to be
notable.
Notable, yeah. Unnotable people don't do porn.
Or they're going to the community college of... I don't know.
Unremarkable people make baskets.
Oh, I was thinking of like a community college version of Bang Bros. That's like I don't know what they do, but
Uh,
worse porn, worse erotic something.
Wait, what did you just say? Worse or horse?
No, worse. No.
I can't get into Bang Bro, so I'm gonna. Oh God.
Oh God. No. No, that's not what.
No.
No. Worse. Like less. Less good.
I'm not a big enough porn connoisseur to know the levels of. Well, actually, you know what? You know what is one that sometimes pops up, and you're like, "The fuck is that?" Dog fart. Have you ever seen dog fart porn?
What a strange name. What a bad name for a porn company.
Dog fart? I know.
Yeah.
But that's one that I have
Okay.
seen pop up, so that would be the worst version of Bang Bros.
Okay, so that's where I guess you go.
There we go.
Yeah,
You
so
go
Bang
dog
Bros
fart
is
college.
the Harvard of, yeah, and then Dog Fart is your community college.
Is Bang
There
Bros
you
the
go.
Harvard though? Wouldn't that just be Pornhub?
Isn't Playboy gonna be the Harvard?
No, there's
'Cause,
no
like-
way. It's like the
Okay, well,
it's like the Stanford or like
well, we all know that Playboy is not good.
yeah.
porn,
It's something that
but
sounds
it's
prestigious, but
prestigious,
really isn't.
right? Oh, okay, so it's like Yale.
There we go.
No, because
Yale.
Yale's a good school, I guess. I don't know.
Are Stanford and Yale really
It's-
that good if they're not Harvard?
Playboy's the Brown.
The brown. There we
Yeah.
go. They're brown. I don't know anything about colleges. We're just repeating shit I see in movies now.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah.
went to Brown.
So,
No, that was Family Guy, wasn't it? They make fun of Brown.
because Brian went to Brown. right?
Brian went to Brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
If
There you go.
if anyone ever watches this podcast and they're gonna look up dog fart and they're gonna be like, I went to Yale, assholes. What did you do? And I called people who make baskets boring. So I'm sorry. That's not untrue though.
Those people might not be boring, but that sounds like a boring
It
job.
sounds
That's
like
a
really
boring.
fucking boring
That's a
job.
boring occupation to say to somebody. I'm sorry. Like people who make baskets, they're important people. Everybody who makes baskets may not be boring, but if somebody at a party is like, "What do you do for a living?" and you're like, "I make baskets," that's not an exciting answer. It just
Are
isn't.
baskets important?
Chris, I bet you have a basket in your house right now.
What do baskets do that buckets don't?
They look nice. You're not just nobody's leaving a bucket of fruit on their dinner table. Hey mom, happy Mother's Day. Here's a bucket of flowers.
You didn't say Easter. It's Easter. Yeah, Easter busket busket.
Easter.
Easter bucket instead of Easter basket.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
I want an
exactly.
Easter bucket that's like painted like an Easter egg. Yeah. Okay.
See?
There are some applications where buckets are better, but not every application. I would rather get a basket of flowers or a basket of fruit than a bucket.
Well, if you get a bucket of fruit, though, after you finish the fruit and you have seeds left over, you just add dirt and you start growing trees. Can't grow a tree in a bucket or in a basket. God, that's...
Probably. I would bet if you filled a basket with dirt and planted seeds in it and like watered it and stuff.
Someone grow a basket tree, please.
And then when the plant gets big enough that it needs to outgrow the basket, it can just like the roots can just go through the sides.
Oh.
It can't do that in a bucket.
Okay, now you're making some points that I like. Because if you have like a wicker basket and you
Right.
plant a tree in the wicker basket, then the roots can just like bust through potentially.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know
there
how
you
strong
go.
wicker is.
Now I'm defending. There you go. See, people who make baskets, I'm on your side.
Yeah.
I'm on team basket.
You're important basket
Yeah.
makers.
I like to imagine that there's just this feud between people who make buckets and people who make baskets. And they're just like, oh, he's a bucket guy.
Buckets, no baskets. Buckets,
No
no baskets.
No, this is Patrick.
This is my basket. But what if they had put the lotion in the basket? Wait. What is the quote? Put the lotion in the bucket or put the lotion in the basket? It's put the lotion in the basket. So what if they had put the lotion
Yeah,
in
he
the
lowers a
bucket?
basket.
Yeah.
Well, now we're saying baskets are for serial killers.
Yeah. Well, think about people who make baskets. They're probably serial killers. It's such a boring
Wow.
job. It's
Dude,
such a boring job.
I don't think we've pissed off or isolated ourselves from a group of people, from a demographic of listeners, any harder than we have the basket people now. That's such a degrading way to say that too. The basket people. Oh, you fucking basket
You're
people.
the one that said it.
You're one of those basket people.
Oh, I want to meet someone who makes baskets now and be like, "Are you a serial killer? And is your job boring?
Are you boring? And give me a list of applications where baskets are better than buckets. Because bet you can't come up with more than 5. I think that's a good place to end it.
Oh my goodness. This one went in a direction that I didn't expect at the end. Okay. Well, thanks very much for watching. If you watched, and if our only listener up to this point was someone who loves baskets or makes baskets, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're a basket person, tell us why. and I don't know.
If you make baskets, hit that like button. If you don't make baskets, also hit that like button.
Yeah,
that's the YouTube outro.
And if you're okay, and if you're reviews, we're on Apple and Spotify, and if you go to those places and leave us a review, please do that. Give us 5 stars, even if you're a basket person. If you're a basket person and you were offended by this, leave a 5-star review anyway, and then tell us how much you hate us in the review. You can leave a bad review, just make sure it's 5 stars.
Yeah, listen, if you leave a 5-star review and you say, I am a basket maker and I am upset, and give me I will use your username and personally apologize to you, and I will spend a half an hour. I will spend a full episode of
an hour.
I will spend however many people comment upset about being basket makers and being offended. I will spend as much time as needed to personally apologize to each of them.
Okay, there you go. If you are a basket person, leave us a review and you'll get a personalized apology from Chris on the next episode.
There you go.
All right.
You got one shot.
There's your test. But only if it's a 5-star review.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be a 5-star review.
All right. It's been Unplanned Podnancy. I'm Matt.
I might be Chris.
Then I might be a basket person. Goodbye.
Bye.